Hey everyone, it's Sarah from Apricot Polka Dot, and with Valentine's Day right around the corner, I thought it would be fun to make some heart-shaped pom-poms. So you just need to know how to make the basic perfect pom-pom, which you can find in my other video, how to make the perfect pom-pom, and then we will shape those pom-poms into perfect hearts for Valentine's Day. To make a heart-shaped pom-pom, you need to know how to make the perfect pom-pom, which you can find on my YouTube channel called The Perfect Pom-Pom. So once you have that, then we can get started with our trimming, because this pom-pom is all about trimming. So let's move our cute hearts out of the way. All right, so here I have a pom-pom that I have made, and it is still really shaggy. I haven't cut the ends off. It's just it just came off of the pom-pom maker, and we're ready to trim it down into a heart shape. So the first thing I like to do, I like to find my end strings, and that is actually going to be the bottom of our pom-pom, like the back side. We're going to cut those off, and I talked about my favorite trimming scissors on my Perfect Pom-Pom video as well, but they're this Fiskars brand. You can actually find them on Amazon, but they are sharp and they do a really good job of trimming. So anyway, so we cut off our end tails. Now this is going to be like the bottom, like the actual bottom part. So if we're looking at our heart here, so we have the peak here where it comes to the little point, and then up here is where the heart comes together. So the bottom, I actually mean the very back side of the pom-pom. So that's the bottom of our pom-pom. So I guess you could say top or bottom, like when you flip it over. So that's going to be our bottom side. Now, I look at my pom-pom and I actually kind of like flatten it out when I'm making a heart, so that it makes almost like it looks like a planet, like a circle with a big line around it. So I look and kind of see what would be the most logical pointed little end of my heart. And that is where I'm going to begin, is by doing the little pointed part of the heart. So this to me kind of looks like it could make a good V heart shape for the bottom. So I'm going to start just trimming kind of in a straight line shape off of each of these sides. So we get kind of a pointed V here for the tip of our heart. So we're just going to do sort of we're going to start with just a very rough shape, and then we're going to go in and trim it up afterwards. So if this is our heart bottom, then we're going to flip it over, because this is now going to be like the two humps at the top. So I'm going to start, and this again is just really rough, and I'm going to start making like a very rough shape of a heart at the top. And we're going to go in and we're going to clean it all up in a minute. So there's one side, and then I actually like to flip it to do the other, because it's just easier for me being right-handed to do that. So this doesn't look much like a heart at the moment, but in a second, as we start to trim it up, you're going to start to see it more. So now with a heart, you need to have that little spot in the middle of a heart at the top where they kind of come together, where the two halves come together. And I actually just like start trimming right into, so you can kind of see that over here where there's not as much fuzz. You can sort of see that I'm making like a valley in my pom-pom. Now, one thing I want to point out is that you can actually see your center string that you use to tie. Can you see that in there? There's our center string. You're going to come right up to that, but you do not want to cut your center string or your pom-pom is going to fall apart, because this is what is holding your pom-pom together. But you also want to make sure you have enough of your little valley at the top of your heart. So you do want to sort of you want to be able to see that a little bit, just to make the heart shape a little bit better, but you don't want to cut it. So just don't cut that part. So I also like to take a little bit like kind of out of a valley in the front and the back, just to kind of help give it that shape a little bit more. Okay, so we've got our basic shape. I mean, it's not great yet. We're gonna need to make this look a little bit better, but now we're gonna just start trimming it up. And this takes a little bit of practice. I'm not going to lie. I have done quite a few heart pom-poms now, and it did take, there's a learning curve. Your first couple, they may not look like hearts, but as you go more and more, you just keep trimming around just to give it more of a heart shape. And you'll be able to see where you kind of need to take off a little more on the sides, and where you need to And sometimes you need to end up like taking off more on both sides because you've cut a little too much or too little. I have done a lot of these though, and I promise as you do more and more, it will get easier and you'll be able to see your hearts a little quicker. I like to do these in with my smaller size pom-pom maker and with my just kind of regular 2-inch pom-pom. So it's like 2 to 1 inch are the ones that I have found to be the most successful. I've tried to do bigger ones and they've worked okay, but it's kind of almost harder to tell what they are if they get a little too big. So personally, I think like the 1 to 2 inches is kind of a perfect size for these. So I'm just again going kind of down into my valley. I feel like I need to take a little bit more off of there after I've trimmed off the tops a little bit. And again, this is just kind of like trimming. If you're really good at like trimming topiaries, you'll probably be great at this. And if you're not good at trimming topiaries, you might be great at trimming topiaries when you're done making these heart pom-poms. So anyway, now you can sort of see that we have a heart shape. Let's clear off some of our fuzz so that you can sort of see what we've created. And there's a little heart for you. So again, just things to keep in mind. Do not cut your center string. You'll be able to see it as you go trim into this valley, but do not cut it or your whole pom-pom will fall apart. And you just are going to keep trimming and trimming until you get the shape that you like. You can always go in and say, oh, I think I need a little more in the middle here just to kind of make those little humps of your heart a little more prominent. But it's just however you like it, and just keep practicing. The more you do, the better and easier it will become. And spread these around for Valentine's Day. Put them on top of pencils, make a garland out of them. They're super fun and they're super cute and full of love for the holiday season. Happy Valentine's Day!